Hi, everybody. We are here again. I can't quite believe it's episode 10. I don't know. It's gone by fast. It's Friday night. I'm totally going to be surprised if any of you find me because, it's Friday night. And I hope you're all, at least you've had some fun, So welcome. This is the 10th episode of my reading my first book out loud, The Oat Project, how I faced my fear and came of age in one wild summer. It's about the summer of 2007, in which I sowed my wild oats at the age of 37 in the middle of motherhood, and I was then married, and bunches of depression and panic attacks and stuff. I did 25 things in 14 weeks that I had never done before. And there's a link in the description if you want to catch up and watch the first 9, and I have people who have made just a playlist out of it and put their headphones in. You don't have to watch me. I'm noticing that this link, I will fix it I'll fix it after we're done. It's got the holy from Holy Moly looped in there. So sorry. So yeah, that's why we're here, to read this. I'm kind of waiting for this one person in my life. I'm just going to do it, and I'm going to send it to her. So there's somebody who was in the book and did a lot of things with me and has been my friend forever. And so I'm going to sing. If you want to join me in singing to Sue, she can out herself as who she is in the book if she wants to. I'm not going to. But happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sue. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Susan. Happy birthday to you, and many more. I love you, Sue. Happy birthday. I'm glad you're in my life. So, tonight I'm drinking. I'm just going to wait just one more minute because I'm kind of hoping she'll show up. Not whiskey. Every night I've told you I'm kind of a horrible wild person because I don't really drink. It doesn't agree with me. I'll have a glass of champagne with you if we're celebrating something, but it just doesn't agree with me. So tonight is something that I've talked about before, and you need to try because it's so amazing. And it is Earl Grey tea with molasses. Sounds weird. It's amazing. They complement each other, like we hopefully do each other. All right. So, hi, Lisa. Now that Lisa's here, I'm going to go ahead. Okay? Happy Friday. So this is chapter 11. Glorious naked men, no women. All right. No new penises. I had seen one adult penis in my 37 years. My sons didn't count. Neither did the horrified half second when teenage me walked in on my showering dad. I assumed when Oat Council gals gleefully said, strip club, it would require naked men. My excitement was tempered with the weight of their lack of participation so far. I was looking forward to seeing what other penises looked like. Imagined a Chippendale show, like in the movies. A raucous, all-female audience, me included, screaming, "Take it off!" and wondered if the George Hamilton tan, pumped up so much they can't put their arms down look I've always abhorred, would turn me on if it were all in a row right in front of me. Scrawny strippers Inc. would work. Is having a good body, the opportunity, and the need for money enough? Do they get off on it? I tried to find such an extravaganza in Colorado Springs, but had no luck. I'd have to go to Denver, which would be fine. No danger of running into people I know. But I wasn't sure if any of the Oat Council would go for it. I wanted to be with a big group of ladies, full of glee, but my heart felt wounded and wary from losing friends. No one even wanted to go to a rock concert with me. Why would they want to do this? Was it really only that they're busy? Nothing to do with judging or thinking ill of me? But is it me? I talked it over with the staff at Rico's. Most reacted with lip-curling disgust when I mentioned the Chippendales. Nobody goes to male strip shows anymore. They said girls go to strip clubs with boyfriends, guy friends, even coworkers, more as a test of coolness than lust. Is it because most girls have already seen several penises? I understood their point, but was confused and not a little disappointed. I had imagined cutting loose. I had imagined gaining a little visual experience. I like men, have never been a girl's girl. I'm at the nymphomaniac end of heterosexuality, so I could not imagine being turned on by seeing naked women. But is the point of this to get turned on? Maybe my Oat Council gals will be more enthusiastic now, since everyone does it this way. So I replaced going to a male strip show with the regular strip club. Only Erin wanted to go. She is enough. I had not spent college in the midst of naked women and certainly had never gone to wild clothes-shedding parties. Erin probably has. So I had seen almost as few breasts as penises. My parents were not strictly modest. They walked around in their underwear, and I never got a sense that the body is bad. They didn't act like prudes, and I was never told what to wear. My dad didn't mind miniskirts, but because of his belief that to be truly Christian one must be fit, I thought I was fat and ended up being very modest. And now, I was about to see more boobs than ever imagined. Modesty be damned. Journal. My friends would tell you I have a breast fixation. If nipples are visible, I notice. I notice when one is higher than the other and always check before leaving the house. When Sage was a couple of weeks old, I hadn't yet learned to simply lift my t-shirt to nurse her, and my brother visited. His wife was due with their first baby in a few weeks. I unbuttoned my shirt and galumphed out my size E breast. His eyes widened and he blurted, "Dang, your boobs are huge, Janae." "Get used to seeing it," I said. "You're next." Parentheses. For those of you who haven't joined me yet, parentheses means that it's from 2006 when I finished the book, not from 2016 when I finished the book, not from 2007 when I did the book. So it's kind of context, that kind of thing. Parentheses. It was, and I had no idea. Oh, so sorry. I said, "You're next." Parentheses. I was forgetting his wife was a size 0. But I've seen few naked women. Most girls at my college didn't hang out naked, at least not around me. I'd hardly had anyone say my body was beautiful and normal and great. Parentheses. It was, and I had no idea. The hottie. This was still the time of MySpace, and one night, via hopping from friends' profile to others, I ended up on a page the antithesis of bright and cheery. All black, satanic-looking art. This person scared me. But they had figured out how to post a video, and the black and white preview for it was a naked girl. Dare I click? I dared. A cynical story of love between an artist and his muse played out over a few minutes. When it came to the part where she became his model, I was riveted. It was not her nudity, but her breasts. She was a hottie, young, pretty, the lead woman in a film, and her boobs hung down like mine, a lot like mine. I was a mom in the middle of breastfeeding my third child. How is it possible my boobs looked like hers? What were mine like before nursing? I had been assuming they had changed for the worse, but seeing hers made me wonder, do real boobs hang? It must be. Here it was in front of me in black and white. Real boobs hang. I smiled, and then I wondered what Jack thought of my breasts. That night, I put on a maternity shirt. I put on a maternity shirt that was so comfortable I used it as a night shirt. Low boat neck, slits on the sides, shorter sleeves. A little sexy, lime green rough edges and all. But I looked down and thought of all the other breasts out there, anticipating seeing scores of them at the strip club. I asked Jack, are my breasts sexy even though they hang a little more than they used to? Parentheses. Now I understand that I was really asking him, do my boobs hang more than they used to? What do you think of them? Do you find me pretty? Parentheses. He looked at me like I was crazy, brow furrowed over a half smile. Of course they are. Why is it of course? I don't know these things. It felt the same as when my mother would lovingly poo-poo my insecurities, dismissing my fear instead of answering me straight. Parentheses. I remember how she would wave her hand at me in these moments. The day before, I made the mistake of telling a wildly experienced guy friend I was going to a strip club. Oh, they'll be all over you, he said, leering. What do you mean? I asked. You're a chick. They love that, he said, waggling his eyebrows. I thought strip clubs were for men. He confused me every time we talked. Maybe, but they love women, especially pretty ones. He's flattering me. I always took a girl with me as often as I could. The breadth of my inexperience expanded again as I saw that my image of this task was probably woefully inaccurate. Report. The all-new room. Earl Grey tea with molasses. Read this. The all-new room. I picked up Erin at her house on the west side of town. She was dressed sparkly and sexy. I had tried, wearing what I felt sexiest in, jean cutoffs and a fitted bright blue polo with black high-heeled sandals. I barely remember feeling sexy in clothes. Do I want to feel sexy in a strip club? My wild friend said to skip the clubs near my house because of the, quote, skanky, nasty, old fat chicks there. Parentheses. Really? I should have punched him multiple times for his misogyny. He recommended a club on the tract home-filled east side of town. Colorado Springs has distinct city sections. The view east of Academy looks like Kansas, home to cheap land, 3 of our 5 military bases, ranches, and survivalists. A well-traveled friend once told me he settled his family on the southeast side, even with higher crime rates and gangs, because it was diverse, like living in a big city. In the dark, I couldn't find the turn that had been so clear on Google Maps. But a winding road seemed promising, so we drove past a tree nursery and RV store, rounded a curve, and saw red lights across a field about half a mile away. So do you know what to do at these places? Erin asked. You've never been to one? I asked. I thought she had done everything on the list. Nope, she said. That's okay, I said. I Googled it. Erin broke out laughing. You're kidding me. Strip club etiquette is what I put in, I said. She kept laughing. I never would have thought to Google it, Janae. How times have changed, right, guys? Well, you tip everybody and no touching the girls. We won't have that temptation. At least I don't think so. I did not know what to expect of the club or myself. It looked like a square brick warehouse, its neon sign glaring from the roof, Front doors flush with the building, no awning, no porticos, no style. As we passed the doorman, "Good evening, ladies," and went in, I remembered we were supposed to tip him. Crud, messing up already. A girl in black sat at a counter to the left and checked our IDs and took our $10. We were on the upper level, the bar straight ahead. You may go here in our main room, or you may frequent our all new room. She pointed to a hall behind her. At any time. New room? Have they remodeled? Thanks, Aaron and I said in unison. The walls and ceilings were black, lit with black light's white glow. It felt strangely low-key, almost languid. Girls in white walked in evil-looking plastic platforms to and from tables and stages, but all else seemed still. "I need a drink," Aaron said. "Yes, that sounds good," I said. I can't believe I said that. Do my friends want to have a drink with me when we do tasks because it's a special event to them, or because having a drink is usual? The whole world seems to use social alcohol like oil to a car. Does it help them get outside their mind, ego, to let go? Have humans always used alcohol so often? Or did it used to be for only special occasions? Is its prevalence because of the ready access, but also the ascension of the left brain? Did we know how to relax into fun without alcohol for most of human history? Did our progress go too far, yielding more addiction? The bartender was in a pit 4 feet below us. Does he care about boobs anymore? $15.50, ladies, he said, handing up 2 tiny drinks. Ouch, it's like the movie theater. We went down the stairs. A low wall surrounded 4 round stages. Small tables with two chairs each filled in between and along the wall. We chose a table on the wall. The chairs were comfortably upholstered. On 3 of the stages, girls writhed in G-strings for mostly men. One directly in front of one of the 2 couples in the room. "It's smaller than I thought it would be," I said, "and it's so comfortable feeling." "And they're all so nice," Aaron said. "If they were mean, we wouldn't spend money." Cirque du Soleil girl. There were few customers. I thought it would be packed with military guys, hollering and laughing, but it was quiet except for grinding rock music, droning. It felt both tense and laid back, like a group waiting for a dreaded announcement. Do you think all the girls have stage names? Do I call them girls or strippers? What's the etiquette? Probably, she said, in the Derby Dames, a local roller derby team, they all pick sexy names. Mine was going to be Cherry Popper. I wonder if they have to create alternate identities to stay sane, I said. Possibly, she said. I could see that. Her grin disappeared and her forehead furrowed. Parentheses. I wonder now how much Erin downplayed her delight because she could sense my discomfort and disapproval. I wonder what I might think of the strip club now. Have I changed so much as to reach a place of freedom like she did? We sipped our drinks and watched. I had eaten a chicken salad before coming. Alcohol spins my head, so I now eat protein and go slow with the drinking. Should I be trying to get better at drinking? Who will I become? A short, weasel-faced man sat at the stage closest to us, staring at the girls and their parts as though he was inspecting a horse. He squinted and smiled, cocked his head, stretched his neck a little to get a better look. Disturbing. Is this what, quote, making them work for it looks like? Is a relationship so hard for them to find? Is this different from that, from sex? I knew we should have plopped down right in front of a stage from the beginning, but I couldn't muster the courage, so we watched from the sidelines. I want to stop and say one thing, and I can't remember if I say it later, but part of me wishes that I would just have talked to a stripper. I actually have a friend who's a former stripper, and she probably could have answered a lot of my questions, but It's a story of the experience. And so I remained clueless and trying to figure it out and probably making a lot of incorrect deductions and assumptions. So it's just interesting, right? We watched from the sidelines. It seemed so still and quiet despite the music, like a room full of blind people trying to see. No one danced at the table a few feet away from us. A man's voice blared. All right, let's give it up for these lovely ladies. Not one person clapped. Up next, you'll see Vixen on stage 1, Candy on stage 2, and Bambi, I kid you not, on stage 3. His voice was so annoying, I tuned out the rest. Maybe his job is to be awful so the girls will look better. Across the room, at the only stage with a pole, a girl wearing a black halter dress, like a 50s bathing suit, started strutting around the edge, slowly working off her dress. I'd wear something like that if my body were remotely close to hers in fitness. Parentheses. I read statements like this now, and I cringe in compassion and yelp in delight. I no longer limit my clothing choices by the southern whip of what looks pleasing. Maybe. Her body was perfectly near perfect. The pudge at the tops of her fit thighs enhanced her hourglass shape. She swung around the pole exactly like when my brothers and I were kids and flung ourselves around the pole in the basement of the parsonage in Ohio, feet at the base, dipping down to almost kiss the floor, seeing how fast we could go. And then she took off, hand over hand, up the slick metal pole. Sweet. Aaron and I grinned at each other, eyes wide. Effortlessly, she twisted her body to the music. I leaned across our tiny table and said, "Let's name her Cirque du Soleil Girl." Yes, Aaron whispered back. Cirque du Soleil Girl worked the pole for the first 15 minutes of her half-hour set, shooting down head first, stopping an inch from the floor. Her sexy poses screamed, "Here are my breasts, here is my ass, and here are my abs." It was terrific, and over too quickly. If this is the beginning, it's going to be a fun night. The second half, she gyrated on the stage like the others. Off stage, her heels were a tad too high, making her look sway-backed and awkward as she walked. Tits thrust out, butt thrust back, pigeon-toed. Do I look like that in heels? Eek. It's all under control. After the flashy beginning of Cirque du Soleil Girl, we waited at our side table through 2 more half-hour shows, hoping for more pole dancing, but no one else ascended its slick heights. Aaron and I didn't talk much, taking it all in. I wondered which girls would dance like in Flashdance. Instead, they moved snail slow, suggestively posing, touching themselves. Has Madonna's strike a pose reflected or changed stripper methods? Do I simply not know what, quote, dancing looks like these days? Has it come so far from solid gold? I'll find out in 4 days when I go clubbing. I wanted the scene with water gushing down on Jennifer Beals. For crying out loud, that was cool. This is just a bunch of fit, practically naked girls putting their crotches in people's faces for dollars tucked into their panties. That seemed off to me too. Shouldn't putting your most private part in a stranger's face be worth more than a measly $1? I'd want at least 5. Although who on earth would look at my bits? Does Jack know what I look like down there? And down there, crap, I can't even use proper terms, in the crotch and barely covered vaginal area, they all looked the same. No hair, the holy bits precariously covered by a black or red strip of fabric held on by thin string. Is its precariousness part of the attraction? Are they glued on? Are those scrutinizing men searching for distinguishing characteristics? If a girl had a mole down there, would it be an attraction? Or would they cover it up because it's too personal or different? I had more questions. Do they use makeup down there? All over? The lighting is designed to make their skin look its best. Do strip clubs have trade magazines to report advances in lighting or music or psychological studies on how to get men to buy more watered-down drinks and fold their dollar bills in half lengthwise? What about menstruation? Do they take birth control to stop it? Wear tampons? Do they ever leak? Do they get to take a couple of days off? What must that feel like, having someone look when a gush of blood wants to shoot out? Is it like a secret? Do they think less of those who look at them? Do they feel sorry for their clients? My mind rolled on relentlessly, and the pressure to sit at a stage built in my consciousness. I knew I had to immerse in this task, but I was stuck, transfixed, my brain analyzing, nervous, having fun only because I was with Aaron. The music was filled with loneliness and longing and began to wear me down too. She's just looking for love. Don't you want somebody to love? It seemed designed to exacerbate patrons' needs, so they would turn to the girls in front of them. My head started aching. The atmosphere of orchestrated control wore on me as much as the music. I looked around with scrutinizing eyes. The main floor was sunken, the bartender below too. It reminded me of the opposite mindset, how men place women on pedestals in order to control them. Low lights with spots of brilliance, comfy chairs that invite leaning back. If comfortable, you'll spend money. If insecure or nervous, you'll freeze up and leave or lose control. Patrons had to be made comfortable and confident in order to watch but not touch the women. It reminded me of something, but I could not put my finger on it. The drink girls came by a few times, so I ordered another Cosmopolitan, my new drink of choice. Aaron said, "Everyone here eases your insecurities." Do they look for empathetic girls to hire? Or do they hire for looks and train them in empathy? Are they apprentice strippers? Are they this nice to everyone? They seemed genuine. I asked my wild friend, and he said, no, they're not apprentices. Some might strip, but most don't. Maybe they don't make $1,000 a night, but they make good money, like $200 a night, like $200 a night. He said, pointing to his head, if they have a little more up here, they know they don't have to strip to make a good living. Exactly. But I still wondered why others stripped. Is it really money or some other need or want I can't comprehend? Of breasts, fake and real. They dress after their set so casually, Aaron said. I wish I could hook my bra in the back without looking. When they have to work to get the spandex off over those heels, it destroys the flow of their dancing. Like I'm commenting on a sporting event. We had been there almost 2 hours. I know we need to sit at a stage, I said to Aaron. Yes, she said, as though that thought had been aching to get out. We need to either sit there or leave. I don't want to get that close, but I have to in order to immerse, I said. Yes, she said. So which table? I'd love to see Cirque du Soleil girl again, I said. She was amazing. I looked around and pointed to the stage across the room. I like her over there because she has fat on her thighs and she looks lonely. No one's at her table. Janae, this is not a mercy kind of thing, Aaron said. It's about having fun, not being nice. You're right, I said, but I'm drawn to the girls with real bodies instead of the fake ones that look shellacked. I was surprised to be able to tell fake boobs from real breasts. The fake ones stood out, literally and figuratively. I thought that was a myth. I had seen the clothed, augmented chests of friends. Naked, fake boobs fulfilled the cliche. Perfectly round, perky to a fault. Only a bubbly and talkative stripper we called Pink Latina seemed authentically delighted with her body, like she'd be fun outside of this place. Is this her adopted persona or her real one? Is she cranky when she gets home? I was also surprised at how real breasts seemed sexier. Those smaller, those that hung more, they seemed to say, You may not look at me first, but when you do, we shall draw you into our swirl and swing. The girls with real boobs seemed to stand taller, more confidently, pushing their chests forward. Parentheses. As I write, I sit taller and stick out my chest. In that one night, I saw more boobs than ever before. Do men, Jack, care if they're fake or real? Do all men like all breasts, no matter the shape, size, or hang? Do old men like old boobs too? Does the boob sag of age make the age sag of man parts less traumatic for them? Do men think about these things? We were putting off moving to a stage, still seated. I knew this. I knew Aaron knew this. And still we sat. Aaron said something that I didn't hear over the music, so I leaned across the table and said, "What about their all-new room? Do you think it looks different from this room?" "What?" she said. I asked if you wanted to go to the all-nude room before sitting at the stage. "The all-nude room?" I asked. Oh, now it makes sense. That's what the lady said at the front? Aaron was laughing now. You thought she said all new? Yep, I said, now laughing at myself too. I thought they'd redecorated. And no, if it's okay with you, I'd like to skip the all new room. This is nude enough for me. Erin shook her head, still smiling. Oh, Janae, you crack me up. We sipped our drinks. I wondered when she would insist on moving to a stage. I would wear that dancing, Erin said. She pointed to a very fit, tan girl in white stretch knit pants, low slung with slits up each thigh, halter top, perfectly cupping her perfect cups. I might wear that if I looked like her, I said. Erin laughed. Of course, my idea of what my body looks like and what it really looks like are two completely different things. So maybe I wouldn't really wear it. Parentheses. I wonder now if I looked like her comment killed her joy in that moment. Erin, excuse me, I need to sit up. Erin pointed across the room at another girl, saying, "Ooh, look at her outfits." This girl was covered in a skin-tight, red, long-sleeved top and pants under thick white fishnets crisscrossing all her body's assets. It's still tacky, but so sexy, even though covered more than the others. I could wear that, but would I? Who would you be, I asked Erin, if you were to do this? She perked up, her eyes sparkling. I'd be Pigtail Punk Girl, she said. I'd skip on stage and, obviously, wear my hair in pigtails. Her boobs would bounce up and down with her hair. I'd be Yoga Girl, I said, with head-to-toe henna tattoos, and I'd be great on the pole and do postures all over the stage. Cool, Erin said. We'd be cool. We grinned like little girls. The creepy man still sat at the stage next to us, watching a dancer who looked no older than 15. And he really, really liked her. Her eyes were vacant, as though she had gone to her happy place. But she knew what he wanted and gave it to him. Extreme close-up. He, the only word for it, inspected her crotch, turning and tilting his head to one side then the other. He should have a clipboard with a white form to fill out. No cellulite, check. No pubic hair, check. No visible vagina, check. It was at this point, not before, my mothering instincts bristled. I see my daughter as her own person, not an extension of me. It is like this with all of my children. I see them as people, never as mini-me's. But when the mothering instinct does kick in, boy howdy. I almost snarled as I imagined this creep looking at my daughter like he watched this stripper. 11 years ago, I was dating her father. And in 11 short years, my sweet girl could legally let some creep like this look at her like that for measly money. She was already beautiful, and would be stunning by 18. What would it take to bring her to this stage? What options would have to not pan out? How bad would it have to get? And how would I have to fail her? No matter how loudly or strongly Aaron said these strippers were liberated, my gut disagreed. It seemed a sick, mostly sad cycle of need built on twistedness. Why do these men have to be here? Why are women willing to meet that need? Why do they even exist? Because of lack of money, of self-love, of something, a lack? And if Aaron had a daughter, I doubted Aaron would want her to be ogled by men like this. Parentheses. I know you don't like me right now, because my view of the strip club was judgmental, unfeminist, and close-minded. And it was. I have since learned that everybody's got their thing, and the strip club can be a liberating place. But I couldn't see it then. Pigtail girl. I was as immersed in my abhorrence of the man as he was in the stripper. So when Aaron stood up and said, "Time to get up close and personal, Janae," I jumped. "It's my first time here," floated above me as we walked across the room to the stage with the pole. I tried to smile, to not show how I hated it all. I looked up at the chest-high stage, 12 tiny inches away. So close. The girl on stage had pigtails. Her bubblegum bright makeup popped in the spotlight. Knee-highs and tennies would have been sexier than the impossible plastic heels, but she was hyper and grinned as she skipped around the stage, much like what Aaron seemed to have had in mind as her own stripper persona. I looked at Aaron. Her open-mouthed delight made me smile even in my discomfort. She brightened more as Pigtail Girl headed our way. Oh gosh, what will she do with me? But she honed in on Aaron. Phew. Her head bobbed to the music as her shoulders went one way and her hips the other, like a dancing snake, as she squatted, then knelt in front of Aaron. Pigtail Girl danced for only her, eyes locked on hers, smiling only at her, forgetting everyone else. She stroked Aaron's cheeks and shimmied and shook her perfectly fit tits and ass, seeming to say, "I am all yours." While all eyes were on them, I watched a man in all white, glowing in the black light from his Stetson to boots, sit down on the other side of Aaron. He caught my eye and tipped his hat, leering. Parentheses. It occurs to me now that perhaps he simply thought I was pretty. I smiled, but wanted to stick my tongue out at him, a la grade school. He'd probably take it as an invitation. Ick. When Pigtail Girl finished, Aaron tucked a dollar in her panties with another bark of a giggle and a grin at me. I'm glad she's having fun. I should be having fun. I might survive the night if the dancers pay attention to Aaron instead of me, which makes sense because she's blonde, cute, and delighted. I must look like a deer in the headlights. Aaron and I chatted through the 10 minutes between sets. The next girl stayed at the bottom of the pool as she worked her clothes off. Pause. She shed her shirts, and glowing nipple rings popped out. Cool. I shall call her Nipple Ring Girl. She swung around the pole, scanning our faces, brown hair flowing, not bound or shellacked. She looked normal, like someone I could know, like a student or downtowner. Her boobs looked real. Then, instead of climbing the pole as I hoped, she headed my way. Oh dear, here she comes. Maybe she's going for Aaron? But no, crap, here she comes. What am I feeling and why me? Can I say no thank you? I looked at Aaron, but she was grinning happy as a clam. Nope, I shall not look white hat man in the eyes. Will not. I can feel his eyes on me. This is what he's here for, damn it, and I'm becoming part of it, damn it. Nipple ring girl knelt in front of me, smiling down, boobs hanging, prettier than fake baubles. I bit my lip and suddenly felt like crying. Profound sadness welled up inside of me. She seemed so nice. She sat down, writhed, and smiled right at me. I smiled back, not knowing where to look. Her feet, in those ridiculous heels, came over my shoulders, and my eyelids fluttered as I focused on the backs of her knees. I chewed my lips, squint smiling, beyond uncomfortable. The fog of, crap, what do I do, choked me. Her nipple rings winked in the light, and my eyes actually crossed in their attempt to not look directly at her crotch. She leaned forward and ran her hands through my hair, arms around my neck and head next to mine, and nuzzled my cheek with her cheek, and my shoulders relaxed. I'm letting go. I closed my eyes. Wow, I get it. How my lesbian friend said it's so great. So soft. I inhaled deeply to cope, and spearmint saturated my brain. Now that's sexy. She drew my head down between her breasts, rubbing, my lips brushing skin, then leaned back, and I looked her in the eyes, and we both shook out our hair just like in a shampoo commercial. I heard a collective exhale from the rest at the table. I can smell your gum, I said in her ear. Her sexy mask dropped, and she smiled a genuine smile. Yeah, she said, I just took it out. She moved away. The spearmint faded. Thank you, I said as I, dear Lord, tucked a dollar bill, too little for this, into her G-string. You're welcome, she said as she extricated her feet from my neck. I felt like I had soaked in a hot bath. No orgasm or tingling or anything, just warm and comfortable and, dare I say it, sated. Damn, I feel vulnerable, like everyone saw me open up. She left me, heading for the couple across the stage. I looked at Erin. Gaping, she said, that was the sexiest thing I've ever seen, Janae. Ever. Yeah? I asked. I'm afraid I know what she means. I blushed even more deeply. I couldn't look away, she said. I tried not to watch, but when you closed your eyes, I could see you completely let go. You did, didn't you? Yeah, I guess I did. I was still bemused. Her nipple rings glowed in the dark. It's the black light, why they wear all white. Your nose ring glows too, she said. It does? I asked. It looks amazing. The eyes of White Hat Man were upon me, not the strippers. Look away, please, I thought, hoping he could hear me think. My heart skipped a beat a little, knowing I looked even a smidge exotic. I hate caring what people think, but there it is. Our night felt done. Our night felt done, but the stripper machine went on. As Nipple Ring Girl finished, Pigtail Girl came up behind and in between Erin and me, put her arms around our necks, pulled us closer to her, and purred, Are you gals sure I can't do anything for you? No, thank you, I said. What on earth? Parentheses. Now, I wonder if my reactive no prevented Erin from having more fun, if I should have asked for a lap dance. I'm going to dream about you two tonight, sandwiched between you all night long, she said. Up this close, her wrinkles crinkled the neon glow of her makeup. Okay, Erin said, laughing. Is she doing this because she wants more money from us? She seemed twitchy, maybe hopped up on some drug. She ran her fingers across our shoulders as she turned and walked away. The next girl wore a white cutout spandex dress with white stockings made of what looked like thick white laundry line, crisscrossing her tan legs and tied at the top. Are they tights? Was she being creative? She seemed very young. She kicked off her heels, and I realized I had been wishing for one of them, any of them, to do so all night. Barefoot is infinitely sexier. Erin and I clapped and cheered as she scaled the pole. She was not as good as Cirque du Soleil girl, but it was fun watching her, watching us. Does she choose her next victim while she's up there? Her eyes were detached, like she was elsewhere. She dismounted and made a beeline for Erin. Nope, me, crud. I expected writhing when she knelt in front of me. I expected her to scoot forward on her bottom. Does it hurt? And to lop her checkered legs over my shoulders. This is what they do, Janae. It's more for everybody else, right? Breathe. But then she leaned forward, and I thought she was going to hug or nuzzle me. But instead, her head went lower to my chest, and she, lordy, sucked my nipple through my shirt and unlined bra. Whoa! I looked at Erin with panicked, "What do I do?" on my face, but found no help there as her surprise was delighted. White Hat Man leered. I looked down at the bleached blonde, hairsprayed head, moving up and down like my son when he breastfed. Beyond strange. My breath stopped. She really seems to love this. Is she faking? Is she lesbian? Do they all do this every night? Her tongue swirled around my nipple and it obediently popped up. She took the whole thing into her mouth and sucked as her tongue flicked back and forth inside her mouth. Not like Leo at all, or Jack. And then mercifully, she stopped. My shirt was wet in that one spot. Spit or breast milk? Hysteria bubbled into a laugh. The stripper displayed her crotch a little more, and I think I gave her $1. I tried to make a joke, whispering, "Did you get any milk down there?" But she either did not hear or ignored me. I must have seemed delighted and fine with it, because I was smiling at my own joke. Yikes. Everyone at the table stared, grinning. I'm going to pause to tell you a local story. I was doing the final edit of the book, and I was working at Poor Richard's, and I got to this part, the paragraph before, and I realized that I hadn't actually written down what it felt like. Like, I remembered, but I just kind of skipped over it with, "and that's what she did." And so I was sitting in the middle of Poor Richard's when they used to have tables. It's in this bookstore, and I was trying to write, like, my nipple popped up, and I was getting kind of hot and bothered. In public, trying to write that scene. So that now you know. Everyone at the table stared, grinning. I felt numb, soul weary. I'm done with this place. Erin could sense it and said, "Let's go." As we got up from the table, White Hat Man finally caught my eye again and smiled. Excuse me. He seemed like he could have been nice. Why did he and others like him, nice, normal people, cause this place to exist enough to be a task on my list? It isn't right. It was crowded, but no one tempted us on the way out. I was relieved to get outside into fresh air. My sensory overload headache, triggered in movie theaters and big box stores, pounded. "You ladies have a great night," the bouncer said, standing next to the door. "Wow," I said as we walked to my car. "Yes," Erin said. "Wow." We drove away. "I kind of can't believe we just did that," I said. "Yeah, me either," Erin said. We were silent for a full minute as we wound back down the dark side road. Then, like a geyser, giggles erupted out of us and we belly laughed for 5 minutes straight. "I can't believe we did that," I said. "She actually sucked my nipple." Hang on, guys. I need to plug in my computer. Okay. She actually sucked my nipple. I know, Aaron said. What was that like? Weird. I love that place, Aaron said. Yeah? I asked, choking back I hated it. It's so liberating for those women to have control over all those men, she said. Parentheses. Her view is the sex positive one. I have a couple of friends who are beautiful, wonderful people who also burlesque dance. Is it the same, I wonder? I still have no idea. Control over them? I equivocated. I don't know if I loved it, but it was certainly an experience, I said. You're such a chicken, Janae. You hated it, and you can't disagree with your friend, even to be honest. I don't know why they always say it denigrates women, she said. I found it to be just the opposite. That they have the freedom to celebrate their bodies is cool. I don't know, I said. Like you said inside, it was so controlled, so contrived, so slickly done, I said, trying to be honest. That bothered me. It would have been very different to go in there with a guy, Aaron said. Jack would never go, I said, imagining hell freezing over. I'm going to bring my husband back soon, she said. He'll go? Oh, yeah, she said, as though it would be like Christmas. I don't think I could ever go with any of my guy friends, that's for certain, I said. By the way, do you think Pigtail Girl flirted to get more money out of us? No, she was definitely lesbian and liked us. Oh, what would it be like to be full-on lesbian and go to a strip club? We talked about what ifs all the way back to her house. How we would strip, how we would run a strip club, how we might dress in everyday life if other body parts wouldn't fling out of the clothing. Smelling that gum was the sexiest part of my night, I said. And speaking it, I realized I had caught an inkling of my bi and lesbian friends' experiences. Nipple Ring Girl's affection felt genuine, even if it was pretend. Her smooth cheek against mine was so soft. In those moments, I forgot she was practically naked. The hairs on our cheeks brushed, her spearmint breath in my ear. It felt wholly uncontrived. We probably should have sat at the table the whole time, right? I said. Well, yeah, Erin laughed while she spoke. I was nervous about being so close to so much nakedness, I said. Eek, what does this say about me? But it went fine, she said as we pulled up to her house. You did well. Thanks so much for going with me, Erin, I said. I felt guilty getting a fellow mom home so late. Thank you, Janae, she said. I had fun. I'm glad. You made it fun for me, too, I said, hugging her goodbye and watching her cute self go inside. I wish I could be more like her. Wish I could have let go like she does. I got home, took out my contacts, and slid into bed, Leo between Jack and I. Leo sought my breast, and I gave it to him, weaning the nighttime feeding be damned. I had missed them. Strip club questions put me to sleep. What are the group dynamics? Is it like a harem with a hierarchy, the better for the management to control them? Does workplace infighting take on a warped spin here? Or is there a team spirit? Does, as everyone has insisted, a drug culture infect everything? Do some of them hate each other? Are some of them lovers? Why do they strip? Joyful abandon and confidence or needing control? If I interviewed them, would the truth be one or the other or somewhere in between? On men and naked women. Every time I heard Erin go on about how much fun it was, I tried to figure out why I had hated it. I trusted her life experience, good heart, and perspective. So why did I see it so differently? I knew it had to do with how poorly I thought of my own body. Jack always said, I see you, not your body, when I expressed my dissatisfaction with normal pregnancy weight gain. But I wanted him to see my body and love it. So in the presence of super fit women, my insecurities roared. I knew it was my deal, but post-strip club, one question niggled and seemed to be the core of my problem with the place. It was the same issue I would face later watching porn, face every day ingesting mass media. Does seeing perfect bodies ruin enjoyment of normal bodies? Perfection saturation? Plenty of research has shown that idealized images change both expectations and even brain chemistry. Parentheses, see R. Danielle Egan's work on regulars at strip clubs. I was not being unreasonable to wonder. So, is a strip club the same as retouched photography? I would argue it's worse. Strip club girls are real, touchable. Parentheses, touch not the girls. And if they are real, then shouldn't all women look like them? It's attainable because these are women, not robots, not makeup-laden porn stars or airbrushed models. They've done the work it takes to look like that, and it worked. They look like that. So why can't normal, everyday women work harder to look like strippers? It's possible. So why shouldn't the wife, girlfriend, or lover look like the G-string clad person gyrating their crotch? I would love to gyrate my crotch in someone's face and be certain it's welcome. One of my guy friends insisted, a guy still loves looking at his lover because she's real. Strippers are so fake that the attraction is to an object, an ideal, so it doesn't matter. Parentheses, hello, objectification. But I disagreed. Maybe it's not front of mind for most men, but the logic, however convoluted, remains. Perhaps it surfaces as resentment, a dull ache toward the women in their lives. Why can't you, honey, work a little harder to meet my ideal? Please? It's not like getting in shape and shaving your ass are state secrets known only to strippers. Resources abound. So really there's no excuse. We should all look like strippers. All we need is time for 2 hours in the gym every day, an hour for running or walking, money for regular waxings, and what else? Surely it's possible, even with 3 kids to feed, dress, bathe, transport, meals to plan and make, sitters to arrange, a career to build so we feel less like freeloaders because we women can have everything, not to mention the occasional night's sleep. It really comes down to time. I think the issue remains, even when muted by intelligence and sensitivity. And that is one of the wrong, mean, and ugly things about strip clubs. It's not that they set a high standard for physical beauty. It's that they warp the standard. You immersed. Friend reactions split down the gender line. Every single one of the girls' lips curled down. Guys' lips curved up. Both said, "Oh yeah," but with opposite intonations. Most guys thought it was at least semi-cool and funny that I went to a strip club. "Did you go into the all-nude room?" one asked. "No," I said. His eyebrows rose. "What's the point?" I said. "It's the difference between a 1x4-inch strip of fabric and nothing. We all know what it looks like down there." He shook his head. "It makes a difference." "It does not," another guy said. "It does. You didn't immerse in the experience if you didn't go in the nude room." "I did too immerse," I said. "You couldn't have," he said. "It's completely different in that room." "Why?" I asked. "It just is. You chickened out." "A stripper," I said, leveling him with my eyes, "sucked my nipple." His mouth was already open for his sure-to-be-witty retort, but it opened wider with no sound. I shocked him to silence. Win. "Really?" His voice cracked a little. "Wow. I bet he's wondering what that looked like." "Through my shirt," I said. His eyebrows rose to the middle of his forehead as he glanced at my chest. "Wow, Janae. So I immersed, didn't I?" I asked. "You immersed." Journal to the end. Journal. I expected to see something like flash dance, burlesque, but the strippers moved like sloths. Is it so those watching can catch a glimpse of every nook and crannies they never see in real life? Would I want to look at men in the same way? I wish I could talk about this with my Christian friends without fearing judgment, but it sure doesn't seem possible. Where will I find friends? Journal. I keep licking my teeth. Why, Janae? Journal. I've faced others' deaths 4 times. Until now, I've shoved it away, but it's flowering and fruiting, taking over. My life is so full of joy and sweetness that I can hardly stand it. My baby boy smiles at me and I melt. My friend smiles on the phone. Another friend does me a favor. My husband, I have one, listens to me and tells me what he really thinks. I listen to music. I eat good food. I have a roof over my head, a car to drive. I am clean. I am able to care for my children and family and give them myself and good things and knowledge and hopefully a little truth and beauty. I could even run away from all this to be alone only because of it, all of it. Incomparable beauty beyond all my puny dreams. Why am I still afraid? It feels like when you barely push a CD into its drive and the machine takes it, pulls it away from your hand. Like I've pushed myself only a little into that hole, that drive, and life is pulling me the remainder 5/6 of the way, all the way in, and I must be played before I can get out again. And my purpose is to be played, not to sit in the CD holder on the visor forever, half seeing the world. I must be played, uneven feeling, tired and down, hopefully just hungry. Journal. A poem to flowers in a vase at Montague's. You drank from the earth, sucked its life into your own, golden red, reaching for the sun. Death came in a hand, intent on beauty, and though you sipped dead water, trying to live in vain, you smile at me. You smile one last time, showing sun and earth and beauty, even as you shrivel. Journal. We are on the edge between light and dark, full of both. That's the end of chapter 11. I told my friends at work today that what a strange process this has been to read, disagree sometimes with what I used to think when in 2007, and to realize what I've learned since then, and just how uncomfortable it is to see not only how I've changed, but even more like how I haven't changed maybe, I have no idea how I would respond to the strip club now. Maybe I need to find out, but yeah, I sound so judgy, but at the same time, I have no idea. I might think the same things. Hate me if you will. One last thing, I want to say happy birthday again to my friend Sue, who is in the book and has been with me a long time as my friend. So happy birthday. Tomorrow, I think this next chapter is really the real reason I did the whole book. Like, I talk about how it's because people wanted to get me drunk for the first time, but it's really, this was why. It's the church and dancing fools, and it's about going clubbing and dancing for the first time. So I hope you'll join me tomorrow. We've gone about an hour. I imagine tomorrow will be about the same length because it's a pretty long chapter. I hope you have a great Friday night, and I will see you tomorrow night. Feel free to ask questions, and a link to the rest of the first 9 episodes is in the description. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you here. Bye. Thank you. The awkward part of trying to think things.